Hey guys, Duncan here. Welcome back to the channel. If you could do me a solid, if you could hit like and subscribe and ring the bell, that way you get notified every time I make a video. Alright, what do we have here? I hope you know what these are. If you don't, maybe you're new to the channel, maybe you're new to firearms in general. These are magazines, not to be confused with clips. As I've been yelled at in the past, I am an avid M1 Garand shooter, and that takes clips, so I do use the term interchangeably. However, for the purists out there, these are called magazines. Why do I have some of them out here on the table? Well, I want to talk about what's going on. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a crisis right now, and there's a major ammo shortage. And you know what? I went online the other day just to kind of look about maybe buying some more magazines. They're almost all sold out. It is really hard to get some magazines right now. Kind of shocking. A question I get a lot is, what is a good number of magazines to have? How many should I have on hand? Is there a specific number per firearm? Blah, blah, blah. What is my opinion? Look, I've been shooting for almost 20 years. I have never had a magazine fail on me. That is not to say they don't fail. Maybe I've just been lucky. I mean, they do fail in the sense that the springs kind of get worn out. That could fail over time. What has actually happened to me that has caused me to purchase, this is not all I have, but it has caused me to purchase so many, I lose them. I lose them all the time. I go hiking, I go camping, I go to the range. I'm at the range, I lend one to my buddy. By the end of the day, I come back and I'm like, where'd all the magazines go? I went to the range about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, right before this whole crisis hit, and I thought I had all my magazines with me for the Glock 43. I get there, I only had one. And I asked, the range was at a gun shop, and I asked one of the workers, I said, can I buy some more magazines for my Glock 43? And he's like, I'm sorry, we're all sold out. We don't have any. So I was kind of annoyed. I had one 6-round magazine to go shooting at the range. It was a real pain to have to reload all the time. Every time I shot 6 rounds, I had to reload. So, one of the benefits, I think, to having multiple magazines for one firearm is when you're at the range, it's just a heck of a lot easier. And let's just say, God forbid, you are in a home defense scenario or a self-defense scenario, you're going to want a lot more magazines on you. You certainly don't want 6 rounds, you're out, and, well, the bad guy's not. He's got a 15-round magazine. So you're going to be in trouble in that scenario. The magazine I have right here in front of you, these are all the same. These are the Glock 43 magazine. These hold 6 rounds. The Turan Tactical, I was wrong. I actually forgot what I bought. This is a +1 extension on the base plate here. So these two can hold 7 rounds. +1 in the chamber, and these two are 6 rounds. This is just a extender for your pinky, which is supplied by Glock. Over here, these are two Glock 19 magazines. These are 10 rounds. I live in a state where the magazine capacity, or the magazine can be 10 rounds, but you can only load 7. So maybe you know what state that is. This right here, these are Glock 26 magazines. Again, these are 10 rounds, but in my state, you can only load 7. These magazines right here, I hope you can kind of see this on the camera. Let me kind of move these out of the way. These are for a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. This is kind of cool. These magazines, so Smith & Wesson, when they supply magazines for the Shield specifically, they give you 2. So these two are the same. But this is an 8-round magazine. They actually give you an 8 and they give you a 7. The 7 sits kind of flush, whereas the 8 kind of extends out a little bit for your pinky. These right here are AR-15. They hold 223 or 556. These are 10 rounds. They make them in 20. They make them in 30. I think they might even make 40. They make drums. They make all sorts of stuff. But to kind of answer the question that I started with here, which is how many magazines should you have on hand for each firearm, my personal opinion is I would say somewhere in the area of 5 to 6 at a minimum. Again, this is not all I have. I actually, full disclosure, this morning I went online. I was like, you know what? I did find some. I had to go to eBay for some. I had to go to some other sites that I don't normally shop from. But I bought some more. So now, for the most part, for each of my handguns that I use on a more regular basis at the range that I carry, I now have, I think I have 8 per handgun. For the AR platform, I do have more. I've kind of lost track of how many I have because they're just thrown all over the place. But handguns, I did not lose track. I actually just physically lost the magazines. So now I have about 8 per firearm. And I do think that is a good number. Magazines aren't cheap. The Glock 43 ones, this one in particular with the pinky extender, this is not a +1, this is just a pinky extender. This was like $30. That's a lot of money, in my opinion, for a magazine. The Turan Tactical base plates, I think I paid like $20 for these base plates. A lot of money. And then the magazines themselves, they're about another $24. Same thing here with the Glock 19, with the Glock 26. Sometimes you could buy these in bulk. You can get them a little cheaper, standard packaging. But you're going to pay about $20 per magazine, depending on what you get. The AR platform, believe it or not, they're actually a little cheaper. If you live in a state where you can get a 30-round mag pull, you can probably get that for about $15. And I think that's a steal, and I think you should definitely get a whole bunch of them. That way you've got them. If they break, if you lose them, if they get, filthy with sand, maybe you drop it on the floor in the dirt, whatever. Another thing I want to kind of talk about is spring retention and how to keep the springs in optimal condition. In my opinion, and again, this is only my opinion, this is going to differ, based on you guys and what you think and how you feel. I think that you should keep. So if you have a carry, right? Maybe it's your everyday carry. Obviously, you're going to have a magazine in the firearm, and I think you should probably keep another one on your person. That's 2. With that being said, I wouldn't leave all the others loaded. These right now just have 1 round in them, for visual purposes. But I don't think you should keep them all loaded to capacity, because I do think the spring will lose some of its tension over time. And you know what? I always said I wasn't going to do that. I'm not going to leave them loaded to capacity. Well, I started going through drawers, and I found a magazine in there that had probably been in there for at least 10 years, fully loaded. And, I thought about it, and I was like, I don't really trust this anymore. That's a long time to be fully loaded. If my life depended on it, I don't want to use it, because that spring has been compressed for 10 years. There might be a little damage to that spring, and maybe that last round is the one I need, and maybe that's the one that doesn't have the full tension from the spring. Maybe it's going to jam, fail to load, fail to fire. I don't want to deal with that. So with that being said, I think you should keep 2 loaded. Obviously 1 on your firearm, 1 on your person, and then maybe every month, every 2 months, swap them out. Take the rounds out, move them to 2 other magazines, put those in service. Keep the rest of them empty. There's no reason. Look, you're not going to come home one day, I hope, and need 30 magazines because there's some crisis going on. If there's some crisis going on where you're going to need a lot of magazines loaded for whatever reason, load them up at that point in time. But generally speaking, I wouldn't leave everything loaded. The same with the AR platform, the same with the M&P, same with the 19, the 26, whatever else you own. Maybe leave 1 or 2 loaded, and then every month just go through them and swap them all out into 2 other ones, and then unload those, and kind of do that. That's my personal opinion. I know some people will disagree, and they're going to want to keep everything loaded all the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maybe I'm just being a little overly cautious here with spring, wear. I don't want them to wear down. These are expensive. I do want them to last. I don't want to have to buy more magazines because I've spent a lot of money on the ones I have. So with that being said, that's kind of my opinion. 5 to 6 magazines per firearm at a minimum, in my opinion. Keep 2 of them loaded per firearm. Keep the rest of them unloaded every month or so. Switch them, take the rounds out of these, put them in the empty ones, so now these springs have a chance to rest. If you feel differently, leave a comment. I'm definitely open to some opinions here. Maybe some of you guys have a little more training in that area than I do. But like I said, I spent a lot of money on these magazines. I want them to last. I'm not looking to have the springs worn down. I have not had a problem with any of these magazines, full disclosure. Although, like I said, I do have one that was fully loaded for about 10 years, and I will take that to the range once this crisis dies down, and I will put it through its paces and see if there's any issues. Maybe there aren't. But like I said, magazines are expensive. I don't want them to go bad. Hope this has helped you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to read and respond. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.